What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Rooster 88 with the Harley Davidson Nightster. Did a mod here, LED underglow lighting, and it was quite a process. It wasn't that hard, but I did add the Nino RGB LED kit. Let's get into it. My main reason I did this was to be more visible at night. I travel to train in the morning early before the sun comes up, and it's pretty dark, especially with a dark black bike. And this hopefully will help me be a little safer out there. So let's get into it. I'll show you what I did. So like I said, Nino was the brand. You can find it on Amazon. I think I paid $35 for it, more or less. And the kit, what it comes with is 8 lights, multicolor. I mean, there's probably at least 10 to 15 different colors. Comes with the remote and some extra batteries, some zip ties. Pretty much everything you need to complete the install was in there. The only thing I did have to purchase was some crimpy connectors to put on the ends of the wires. I used a couple of my own zip ties and a little bit of tape. So that's all you pretty much need to get this done. There is a feature to connect the lights to your brake wire, tie it in. So when you step on the brake, all the lights turn red. I haven't did that yet, just for the fact that I wanted to see how it works first, and then I'll tap into the brake lights. I just wanted to test it, make sure everything's working before I go and cut into the brake light. But it does work, it works good. Let me show you what I did, and at the end I'll show you the video where it's night and I actually have it on, and you can really tell how it looks. Okay, so there's 8 lights in total. They all chain together, and you start in the front and you work your way to the back. Let me show you. I'll just go ahead and do that. So it is daytime, so it's a little hard to see, but you'll get the picture, and then I'll show you the video at the end. But so I started out connecting the battery connection, my battery, and a Nightster battery, the Nightster 975. This is a 2025 model. The battery is right there behind that plastic cover. On the bottom there, you take that off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 screws, and then the cover comes off. You'll be able to see the battery. You can barely see there's a red plastic cover for the positive side. And there's also 2 screws where you can add accessories, so you don't have to take the battery all the way out. You don't have to access the top of it. All you got to do is loosen up the screws. Use some fork connectors to just slide right underneath the screw, and then you can tighten it back up. But these were the first 2 lights that I put. So I put them under the crash bar here. You can put them in the fender. Well, my fender is it's pretty tight in there, so I didn't want to mess around with wiring in there. If it starts to sag, it could get caught in the tire. So unless I mounted them on the outside, but I didn't think that was gonna look too good. So I chose to mount the first 2. Actually, I take that back. There is one on the other side that was the first one. So the wiring started from the bottom, it ran up, and I put the first one behind this little cover. And let me see if I can get in there, and I'll show you that. So the first one I ran right there underneath that plastic cover on the left hand side here, and that was the first one. And also, once you take off this plastic cover, There's a space where you can hide the controller. It's just a little size of a pack of a gum, and it's just the main controller where the antenna is connected to. So the first light is right here, this one, and then it runs down to the crash bar. And also, guys, these are stuck on with 3M tape, but I also went ahead and zip tied when necessary. So if I thought it was in a spot that might fall, I put a zip tie. Right here, these two are just with the 3M sticky tape. And so it comes up. That's the second one. Third one. Fourth one is under here, under this plastic piece, facing down. That one I did zip tie it, and you can see there's some red right there, and that is the sticky tape, and I didn't use it. So it faces towards the top of the head. That's what I wanted, towards the motor. Let me see if I can get you a look in there. So yeah, it faces in there, and it kind of lights that up from the front. So I thought that was pretty good. There's not a lot of room on these Nightsters. Not like the Evo motors. The Evo motors, it sits lower down in here, and so you can show them a lot more light. There's a bigger gap. So these ones, the frame and the motor are one. So it's kind of a different design. The engine is actually part of the frame. So if you can take all that in, and the Rev Max motor, that's how it works. Motor is part of the frame, and then this. So I don't know if you want to call it a swing arm, is actually bolted onto the motor, so that becomes the part of the rear frame. So after putting the front 4 lights, one on the left, 2 in the crash bar, 1 on the right, I ran the wire up behind, kind of tucked it behind there, and over to right here where this cover is at. So this just kind of pops off. This cover pops off, and that began the spot to where I started running the rear lights. So I got the wires hidden pretty good, so you can't really tell, but they're there. So from there, I went over to, let's see. From there, I went over under the fender here, ran this rear light, which is up under there. Couple zip ties, one here at the reflector, and one back there, and then some tape to kind of keep the wire from sagging. Wire over there. Ran up to this light right there. So I ran that one. So I ran across over to the first light, back to this light, and then I went down and attached one underneath the frame slash whatever you want to call it, so it could be facing down. So okay, from there it goes underneath, and it's kind of in between the belt and the it goes under the frame. I'll show you on this side, it's a little easier to see. But so I ran it from there, and it came across, and it ran over to this one right here. So this light is just like the one on the other side. It's facing down, so you can't even see it. But it does face down right there underneath. Underneath that, it's stuck there, and it has a little bit of tape as well. So the wires at that point, like I said, they're all chained together, and there was some slack. So what I did with the slack was I pulled it all together, zip tied it, and whatever was left, it's kind of zip tied behind this cover. You can't really see it, and I think it's hidden pretty good. So let me show you the function real quick. but I'll try to do that before. So let's see, here's the colors. I believe it's A. Yep, we'll change the color. Let me close this and you can see a little better maybe. And I could also turn the light off here. Let me turn the light off. You can kind of see, but I will do that there at the end. Green. It's like a yellowish green. Like a turquoise. Orange. Purple. Another green. There's like a white / blue. Another type of teal. Nah, it's like a lighter purple. Another different type of purple. White. And then now we're getting into the flashing mode. It goes through all the colors. Yeah, there's red. B on the remote does like a flash, a quick flash, kind of like a cop or something. And then let's see, push it again. No. C is like a pulse. So if they fade in and out. And then if you want to hit D, it shuts them off. So that's how that goes. Let me turn the light off. I'll get you a little bit, and then I'll show you the night shot that I did last night. There we go. It's a little better. I only have one light on in here. Come back, change colors. Yep, go through them all, you know. Came out pretty good. And there's a pulse. As far as I know, it's the only Nightster on YouTube anyways that has did LED lighting. So hey, if you guys were looking for, if it was possible, I know it's kind of tight, it's kind of like a sport bike almost, the amount of space that you have between the motor and the tank and everything. This is kind of similar, but this is how you do it. And that's actually an air box, by the way. It's not the gas tank. The gas tank's under the seat. So it's kind of like goes back to the V-Rod is what I heard. So that's it, guys. Probably took me so the first day I ended up doing it after I got out of work, and I did the controller and the first 3 lights. So I did that, and then I was starting to move over to this side. So the second day I ran out of daylight and I didn't want to do it at night. So the second day I did this light here in this little panel. And then the third day, which was the final day, actually on the second day I did that light, ran the wires through here and over to the rear, and then I stopped right there, and because I needed to use it to drive, so I stopped. And then the last day, which was the third day, I ended up running the top fender back on that side and back over to here, and pulled the slack up into this panel, zip tied it up, and that was the third day. At that point, I probably had a total of maybe 3.5 hours altogether. And then the last thing I did was yesterday. I got some connectors for the battery, the positive and negative. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Wasn't too bad. You know, like I said, took a little bit, about 4 hours, something like that total. The hardest part was probably just figuring out the routing, and that's what everybody says on all these kits. These lights string together like a Christmas light set, and it makes it pretty simple like that. Just a beginner set. I wanted to try it, see how it works, and I didn't want to spend $100. And maybe on the next one, who knows? Depends how long this one lasts. But yeah, I like it. Hopefully, I'm more visible. That's the goal. Be safer. More people can see you at night. And as riding bikes, that's the number one thing is that have people be able to see you, and even then, you still got to be safe. So, having said all that, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment and I'll answer you back. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I got moto vlogs. I got more videos coming. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.